Hi everybody, welcome to video number 3 of the Throw of Grace. If you are coming to this video for the very first time and haven't seen videos number 1 or number 2, you're going to need to take a look at those first and you'll get all the information you need for hooks and materials needed for this project. Well, let's just go ahead and dig in and finish this project.
You should have 105 stitches along the short sides, 119 along the long sides, with a total stitch count of 448. Again, that's not including the chain 2 corners. After we've joined with a slip stitch to that first single crochet of the round, we're going to slip stitch our way to the corner. And let's go ahead and make a corner. But before we do that, there's something very important we need to do. We're going to change to a larger size hook. I'm going up one size to a J or 10 or 6.00 millimeter. Just to show you, I have been using the I or 9. Now, if you need a smaller or a larger hook for your basic gauge hook, you need to go up one size, no matter what size you're using, because now we're going to work the popcorn rounds, and these require a larger hook or the fabric will be too pulled. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1, go ahead and make my corner. Okay, we're going to do that in every corner. So now to begin the popcorn stitch, we're going to work a single crochet, a chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch, and in the next single crochet we're going to work a popcorn, which is 4 single crochets. Then we pull up a loop, we put our hook into the first single crochet that we made, put the yarn back over the hook like this, and then pull it through, and it should pop just like that. We're going to chain 1 on top. Make sure you don't chain too tightly, because if you do, you're going to have a hard time working in the top there. So we are going to be working in this chain as we do the following rounds. Skip the next stitch, single crochet in that next stitch, chain 1, skip the next stitch, popcorn in the next stitch, which is 4 single crochets. Work just like that. Pull up the loop, insert the hook in the first single crochet of that 4 single crochet cluster, put the loop back over the hook and pull it through, and then give it a chain. Again, not too tight on that chain on top. Skip the next stitch, single crochet in the next stitch. So go ahead and work that all the way across the row, and I will show you how to turn the corners. After having worked this all the way across, we have only 2 stitches left and the corner. So go ahead and chain 1, skip the next stitch, single crochet in that next space, and then go ahead and work the corner. Single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet in that same space, and go ahead and start the short side in the same manner like we did the other side. So go ahead and work a single crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then begin the popcorn, which again, there's 4 single crochets, pull up that loop, hook in, and then pull that on through, give it a nice chain, and then skip the next stitch, and then a single crochet in that next space, etc., just like we did along the side. And just to let you know, along the long side that we just did, you should have a total of 29 popcorns across on that long side. After working this all the way across the short side, the last single crochet fell in the last single crochet. So now go ahead and work the corner. Single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet, and across the short side you should have a total of 26 popcorns. And of course there are chain 1s and single crochets in between them, but I just want to give you the generic count there of 26 popcorns. And so now I'm going to turn and I'm going to do that again, starting off working the long side, just like we did at the beginning with that single crochet in the first stitch. This is after the corner, skip a stitch, and then we go right on in to the popcorns. So go ahead and complete that round. I'll show you the join at the end of the row, or round rather, and how to begin round 2 of the popcorn. After working that all the way around, we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet of the round, which was in that chain 2 corner. Now go ahead and slip stitch to that chain 2 space. Go ahead and chain 1, and we are going to turn to work with the back side facing us. Okay, we're going to work the corner at the end of this row, so don't work a corner to start. Okay, we're going to single crochet in that first single crochet, and let me go ahead and show you where this is, because this can get confusing. This is the single crochet that was part of the last corner, but it is the first single crochet that we're going to work in here. So after working that first single crochet, we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet in the top of the popcorn, chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet in the next chain 1 space, which is right here. And this is what we're going to do all the way across the side. Chain 1, and then single crochet in the next chain 1 space, which is at the top of the popcorn. So as you can see in between here, we're skipping the single crochets that are in between the popcorn, but we are only working the single crochets in the chain 1 spaces. I'll do a couple more for you. Chain 1, and then we're going to single crochet in the chain 1 space that is in between the popcorns. Chain 1, and then single crochet in the top of the popcorn. Chain 1, single crochet in between the popcorns, chain 1, and single crochet in the top of the popcorn. So go ahead and work that all the way across. Once we get to the corner, we still have 1 chain 1 space to work that single crochet in. Chain 1, we're going to skip the next stitch and then work a single crochet in that last stitch, and then we come to the chain 2 corner and just go ahead and work that chain 2 corner, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet in that same space. So now going the other direction, we do have a chain 1 space. We know we're going to work a stitch here. We're going to have a chain 1 here, so we're going to have a single crochet in the next space. So start that side with a single crochet, chain 1, skip the next space, single crochet in that chain 1 space, chain 1, of course skip that single crochet, and then we're back to working in the top of the popcorn, that chain 1, and then work in this chain 1 space, and we're just going to continue that all the way across. Now let me give you some stitch counts. Okay, I probably should have done this the last round, but on the popcorns going across the shorter side, you should have had 26 popcorns, and then 29 popcorns going along the long side. If you're finding that this is either too tight or way too loose, too wavy, definitely take the time to do the stitch count, because this popcorn stitch can be a little bit of a stinker at times when it comes to getting the stitch count correct. And you also want to make sure that the hook that you are using, which should be, again, that is 1 size bigger than the gauge hook. If that's not working out for you, feel free to bump it up to even a larger hook or even a smaller, just depending on what your tendencies are. So let's go ahead and we're going to continue working the single crochet in the chain 1 spaces, chain 1, and then single crochet in the top of the popcorn stitches. So go ahead and work that across, and I will give you the stitch counts on the long side. So coming to the end of the longer side, we're going to work our next single crochet in that chain 1 space, chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then single crochet in that last single crochet along that side, and that brings us to the chain 2 corner. Go ahead and do a single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet in that corner. And now we're just going to repeat what we've done on the long side and the short side again, or rather the short side than the long side. So let's go ahead and single crochet in that first stitch, chain 1, skip that stitch, and we're back to crocheting in the top of that chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So go ahead and complete that round. At the end of this round, we worked our last single crochet in the single crochet, which was the last one on that side, and then we work our corner, single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet, and then we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. Go ahead and give it a chain, and let's go ahead and turn with the front side facing. Now we are going to slip stitch our way to the corner, that chain 2 corner, and let's go ahead and work another corner, single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Now starting the next popcorn round, this will be round 3 of the popcorn. Let's go ahead and single crochet in that first stitch, chain 1. Now we want to be very careful that the popcorns on this round alternate with the round 2 rounds below. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to work a popcorn in that first chain 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, pull up the loop and pull that on through the first stitch, give it a chain. I'm going to skip that stitch and work a single crochet in the next chain 1 space. This is very much like the first round, but I think easier because we are only going to be working in the chain 1 spaces. And so now we're going to work the next popcorn in this space, pull up the loop and finish that single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, and again another popcorn in the next space, and complete that stitch. So you can see how the popcorns alternate in between. So go ahead and work that across. So I'm just going to give you instructions for how to complete this round. We'll have a popcorn here, single crochet here, popcorn in here, single crochet, popcorn here, single crochet. You're going to skip this stitch and then we work a single crochet, the chain 2 corner, and we turn, single crochet in the first stitch after the corner, and then we work again the popcorn, single crochet, popcorn, etc. So just make sure that you are alternating them and that they appear in between the other popcorns. That's very, very important. So go ahead and work this all the way around. Okay, after we have worked all the way around that second popcorn row, which is actually round 3 of the popcorn stitch, we're going to join with a slip stitch to that first single crochet of the round, and then slip stitch our way to the chain 2 corner. So after that join, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn, and we're going to work that first single crochet in that last stitch worked of the round. Just remember that the chain 2 corner will be worked here at the very, very end of this round. Then we're going to chain 1, single crochet, and that next popcorn, chain 1, and single crochet in the next chain 1 space, chain 1, single crochet in the top of the popcorn, chain 1, etc. And just go ahead and work this all the way around. When you get to the chain 2 corners, you know what to do. Single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So go ahead and work this. This is round 4. I'm going to work the last corner of this round just to be very clear about something. After you work that last single crochet, make sure that you do not work a chain 1 before you work the corners. Now I'm going to go ahead and work the corner, single crochet, chain 2, and a single crochet. Then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round. Okay, so I wanted to draw attention again to the corners, because if you're finding that you're adding too many stitches and it's getting a little unwieldy or kind of ripply around the corners, it could be because you're adding an extra stitch here, and then when you add that extra chain 1 here, then it's going to make things a little off. So just wanted to be clear, make sure that the last stitch, like right here, and then the corner stitch, that there is not a chain 2. That is a join in this particular one, but just make sure there are no chains in between those stitches as you come to those corners. Now let's go ahead and turn and take a look at what we have. Now I want to give a large assignment, okay, concerning just the rows of the popcorn. We're going to call this row 3 and row 4. We're going to repeat rows 3 and 4 for a total of 8 times more until you have a total of 10 popcorn in the row, or going around the throw. Okay. I do have one more round to go before I complete that assignment that I gave you earlier, but I just wanted to show you that you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rounds with the popcorn. And let me go ahead and give you the popcorn stitch count. And that is, you should have 35 popcorns on the short side and 38 on the long sides. That would give you a total of 146 popcorns all the way around. Now, the reason I have stopped before I completed this entire assignment is there's something very important you need to do before you work the last round. 68, we're going to do something a little bit different, and this is going to be the round that follows the last round of the popcorn. We are going to switch from our size J hook back to the gauge hook, and I'm going back to the size I or 9 or 5.50 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch my way to the corner. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn, and I'm going to work single crochets. And let me go ahead and show you. You should have a single crochet here and a single crochet here with the slip stitch. I know it's hard to see, but we're going to work 2 single crochets, 1 in each of those, before we do what we're just about to do. So I'm going to work 1 here and 1 in that next single crochet. Now in each of the chain 1 spaces, and each of these will be at the top of the popcorn stitch as well as in between the popcorn stitches, we're going to work 2 single crochets in each of those. So 2 single crochets in the chain 1 space on top of that popcorn stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next chain 1 space, which is in between the popcorns. 2 single crochets in the next chain 1 space, and then in between the popcorn stitches, 2 single crochets. We're going to work that all the way around, and let me show you the exceptions to that. When you are working in stitches that are independent of this popcorn stitch, particularly around the start and end of each side of the throw, work 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet in those single crochets. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next corner, just so that I can be very clear about this. So after working 2 single, of course this will be with the back side facing, let's go ahead and look at it from this direction. So 2 single crochets in the top of this popcorn stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the chain 1 space here. Afterwards, you're going to work 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and in the corner space, just like always, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet, and then again, where the single crochets, if you want to see them on this side, are concerned, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then return again. Then you have a chain 2, 2 single crochets. I'm sorry, that is a chain 1 space, 2 single crochets there, 2 single crochets on top of the popcorn, etc. So make sure that you're careful to do that. Again, just make sure when you have those single crochets that are not part of this popcorn stitch, just 1 in each of those, not 2. Okay, so go ahead and work all the way around. After working these single crochets around, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 2, and another single crochet in that final chain 2 corner, join with a slip stitch to the very first stitch of the round, and at the end of this round you should have a total of 146 stitches along the short sides and 160 stitches or single crochets along the long sides. That will give you a total of 612 single crochets all the way around. After working all of these rounds, this is what you should have so far. And this is after working the round with all of the single crochets, changing from the popcorn stitch back to our regular stitching. Now the last round that we are going to work is going to be another round of the low back rib, and this is where we begin by working slip stitches in the back loops of the stitches all the way around. Make sure that you use your stitch markers and mark all of the chain 2 corners before beginning this round, just so that you will have an easier go of it in the round that will follow. And just for the record, this will be the last round that we use this color yarn, so we'll be changing to our final color at the end of this round. After having worked the low back ridge all the way around, I have joined with a slip stitch to that first chain, and let's go ahead and give it a chain and a pull, and we're going to go ahead and fasten off this color, and we'll just hide that strand on the back side, and we can go ahead and keep the stitch marker in. Now we're going to turn and take a look at what we have. Okay, now going forward, we are going to now join the new color in the chain 2 space. In order to join the yarn, we're going to be working in the chain 2 space. And I'm going to make a slip knot. And do be sure that the back side is still facing, so I'm not turning at the end of this last round, but I'm going to just go ahead and join the yarn, the chain 2 after that slip knot, and we're going to go ahead and work our corner. Remember, the chain 2 does not count as a stitch, so we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in that marked chain 2 corner, and that's what we're going to do for each chain 2 corner on this round. After working the corner, go ahead and work in the remaining stitch of those single crochets. Now do be careful not to add an extra stitch here. This is just a join. It's going to be a little bit of a gap on this round, but once we start working the cabling on the next round, it will not be seen. So go ahead and work 1 double crochet, working again in the remaining loop, and when you get to the chain 2 corners, work 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in each corner, and then we will join at the end of the round, and I will show you that. going to join with a slip stitch to the first double crochet of the round, which is part of that corner. And just as another reminder, this chain 2 is not considered a stitch, so do not count that in your stitch count and do not treat that as a stitch as going forward. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch now to the corner. Before we go any further, let me go ahead and give you the stitch count. Along the short sides, you should have a total of 150 stitches. Along the long sides, 164, for a total of 628. We're going to join with a slip stitch to that first double crochet of the round, and just to let you know, this is the chain 2. I'm going to point this out again. It does not count as a stitch, and we are going to combine that with this double crochet on the next round. So just continue slip stitching to that chain 2 corner. And this is with the back side facing, parting all those strands there. And let's go ahead and give you a view of the front. You can see that nice seamless connection with the new color. Now I'll give you the stitch count. You should have 150 stitches on the short sides and 164 along the long sides, giving you a total of 628 double crochets. Lots of stitches in these rounds now. We're going to chain 2, and this is where we begin our front post and the 4 post cables, and we are going to use the stitches in the chain 2. I'm sorry, in the chain 2 corner. Now also keep in mind, this is that chain 2 that I pointed out here. We're going to combine that with the second stitch in what we're about to do here. We're going to skip the first 2 stitches and this chain 2, again we're not counting that, and we're going to front post treble in the next 2 stitches. This is to begin our 4 post cable. Now working in front of those last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches that we skipped, and the first stitch is going to be one of those stitches in that chain 2 corner, and then the next stitch is going to be combined. The next stitch and that chain 2, we're going to combine those and bring our hook around both of those just to kind of help conceal that, and also make sure that you don't use that as a stitch, or your stitch count will be off by at least 1 stitch. Okay, now in the next 4 stitches, we are going to work front post double crochets. Okay, just like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is going to be a repeat all the way across to the corner. We are going to skip the next 2 stitches and then work front post trebles in the next 2 stitches. Working in front of those last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in this stitch and then in this stitch. And then we're going to do front post double crochets in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is going to be your repeat all the way across until you get to the next corner. I'll show you how that corner ends and how to begin working along the other side. So I've worked this all the way across the side, and I've used the last 4 stitches to make the 4 post cable, and now I'm just going to work the 2 double crochets in the chain 2 corner, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets to form that corner. And go ahead and work the same pattern stitch. Skip the next 2 stitches, front post treble crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then working in front of those 2 stitches, front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. And 4 front post double crochets, 1 in each of the next stitches, each 4 stitches. So go ahead and work that across the short side, and I will show you how to turn the next corner. As you come to the end on the short sides, you're going to have 2 extra stitches, so just work front post double crochets with those. Okay, now for the corners, and then when we get to the corner, we're going to work 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets in that chain 2 space. And then we just continue on the long side and the short side as I've just demonstrated for you. And I'll just start you off on the next long side. So we're going to skip the first 2 stitches, front post treble in the next 2, because we begin with the 4 post cable. And then again, working in front of those 2 stitches, front post treble in the 2 stitches that we just skipped. And then continue on with the 4 front post double crochets. So go ahead and finish this all the way around, and I'll show you the join and how to begin the next round. I've come to the end of this round, and I have finished by working the corner, 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and I'm going to join to the first of the 4 stitches in that first 4 post cable. Go ahead and give it a chain, and let's go ahead and turn. Now we have the back side facing. Well, before I do the next round, let me go ahead and give you the stitch counts while I'm thinking of it. You should have 154 stitches on the short side, 168 on the long side, and 644 stitches total. Now we're going to go ahead and turn. And when you have the back side facing, working these final rounds, we're going to work half double crochets in the chain 2 corners. I want to go ahead and say that to start, just so in case I forget to say that later. Let's go ahead and slip stitch our way to that chain 2 corner, chain 2, and we're going to go ahead and start with this half double crochet corner. Go ahead and do 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and let's get a little more yarn here, and we're going to work 2 more half double crochets in that same space. Okay, these are shorter stitches because we're going to be working back post double crochets. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what we have here. We're going to start with 4 back post double crochets starting in the very first stitch here. So that's 1, 2, and 3, 4. That's worked over those back post double crochets, and we also worked them over the 2 stitches here, these corners that we are adding. And then when you work over the 4 post cable, you're going to also work 4 back post double crochet. So essentially back post double crochets over each of the stitches across, and this is for all sides. And when you do get to the chain 2 corners, make sure you're working half double crochets, not double crochets. This is going to keep the corners more square. If you accidentally work double crochets, it's not going to be the end of the world or anything, but I think it will help to elongate these corners and make them a little too pointy. So make sure you work half double crochets in the chain 2 corners. So go ahead and finish that round. We're going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round, which is part of the chain 2 corner, and go ahead and slip stitch to the chain 2 corner part. And let's go ahead and turn and take a look and see what we have. So this is the corner. Now what we are going to do, we're going to chain 2, and we are turning with the front side facing. And let's go ahead and work front post double crochets over the first 4 stitches, and the first stitch is here, the second stitch and the turning chain, we're going to do those together. Let's go ahead and just do those. This is a front post double crochet 1, and then I'm going to wrap also around that turning chain. I mean, you don't have to do it this way, you can just ignore that chain and just go right to the next stitch. Just be careful that you don't include that as a separate stitch, because if you do, then your stitch count is going to be off. Okay, we're also going to do 3 and 4. Okay, so we have 4 front post double crochets, and then we go back to the established pattern, skip 2, and we're going to work front post treble crochets over the next 2 stitches. Working in front of those last 2 stitches, we're going to front post treble in the 2 stitches or around the 2 stitches that we just skipped. Just like that. And then we work 4 front post double crochets. And this is going to be the pattern all the way around. And just as a reminder, let me go ahead and show you the corner again. When you get to the corners, we are working front post, or I'm sorry, we're working double crochets. So again, we get to the chain 2 corners, we're not working half doubles, but we are working double crochet stitches. Okay, for the front side facing, we're working double crochets in the chain 2 corners, and again, that would be 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets every time you see a corner. And you're going to want to do what you can to maintain this pattern all the way across, even through the corner sections. Coming to the end of this round, I have worked 2 double crochets, 1 in each of those half doubles that you will have on one of these sides. And then I'm going to work the double crochet corner with 2 double crochets, a chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to the very first front post double crochet of the round. And let's go ahead and turn once again. After turning, let's go ahead and chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch our way to that chain 2 corner once again. Now remember, you have the back side facing you, so we are going to work half double crochets in these chain 2 corners. The chain 2 and work. Let's make that 2 half double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets. And I'm going to work half double crochets in each of these 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And just as a reminder, as you go around for this particular round, anytime that you work through the top loops, you work a half double crochet, and when you work over the post stitches, we're working back post double crochet. So I'll go ahead and work just a couple of these with you. But that's pretty much what you're going to do for this entire round. And just remember that when you do get to those chain 2 corners, that you are going to work half double crochets and not double crochets, and that way the corners don't become too pronounced. If you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world, I promise you. But it would look better if you do half double crochets on with the back side facing in those corners. So go ahead and finish that round. I've come to the end of this round, and I wanted to show you, just to point out that this is a turning chain and you don't want to add an additional stitch. So you can either wrap your hook around both of those, or you could just simply work the double crochets only. I'm going to go ahead and work both of those stitches with that back post double crochet, and then one more stitch of the round. And then I'm going to join with a slip stitch to that first stitch of the round. After joining with a slip stitch, I am not going to chain 1, but I'm going to go directly into working in the chain 2 corner. I'm going to begin this decorative round, and also realize that I have the back side still facing. I have not turned my work for this round. I prefer the back side of these stitches for the front side facing, if that makes sense. But let me go ahead and begin with a treble crochet. We're going to work 7 treble crochets worked right into that chain 2 corner. Let's make that a treble. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And this is how we are going to work. After working those 7 trebles, we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going to work a slip stitch in that very first of the chains that we just made, thereby making a picot. And now we will treble crochet 7 additional stitches into that same chain 2 space. Should be 5, 6, and 7. Let me verify that I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then one more. Okay, now we have our corner completed. Okay, now we are going to skip 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is only at the corners that have the additional stitches. Let me show you. Remember, some of these corners had 2 additional stitches. Well, this is one of those longer corners. When we work the shorter corners, I will show you those. You will not have to skip nearly as many stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next stitch, we're going to work a single crochet, chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, a slip stitch in that first of the 4 chains, and then you can go ahead and work a single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so now the next grouping, or the next shell, let me show you the front side facing, is going to be worked in between this stitch and this stitch. So it should be right in the center where the cables are crossed. Okay, so you're going to have to skip a few additional stitches, again coming from this corner, 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and in between the stitches, it's going to be below these 2 stitches here. Just come right down below, and we are going to work 4 treble crochets. That's 2, 3, and 4. And after working those 4 treble crochets, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch in that first of the 4 chains, and then 4 more treble crochets worked in between those 2 stitches, which should be the center of where the cables cross. Okay. Okay, now to get on with the repeat that we're going to be repeating across, we're going to skip 1, 2 stitches now, single crochet in that next space, chain 4, slip stitch in that first of the 4 chains, single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and we're going to come, you can always look to make sure that you are in the right place. Where these last 2 were crossed is right here. So we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and in between you can come down a little bit lower. We're going to, let's go ahead and wrap the hook the proper number of times. Wrap the hook twice and work those 4 treble crochets, and after that we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch in that first chain to form a picot, and then 4 more treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and skip 2, 1, 2, and again the single crochet, chain 4, slip stitch in that first chain, and single crochet in the next stitch, and then we're ready to work another picot, another shell. We skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and then again working down below that 4 stitch down in between, so that it's in between the cables. Let me show you what this looks like with the front side facing. And you can see where the cable crossed, how this comes in between those stitches, and it just kind of gives it a nice look, I think, a nice finish. Okay, so go ahead and work this all the way across, and I will show you the next corner. I am just working this across, and I just wanted to give you a view of this. I really like the way this is coming out. So obviously it has not been blocked yet. Blocking will help this a little bit, but I really am enjoying this. Okay, you can see how the large shells with the picots are worked right in the middle of where these stitches cross. All right, so let's continue on. I have come to the corner, or getting close to the corner, where there are slightly different number of stitches. So what we're going to do in this case is we're going to skip, okay, 1, 2, 3 stitches this time, and work that single crochet, chain 4, and the picot, there we go, slip stitch, and then followed by another single crochet. And we're still 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches out, but that's okay. We're going to work 7 of those treble crochets. We're now working in the corner, chain 2. I just mostly wanted to show you that how to skip stitches. We're basically trying to find the halfway point until we get to working all of these stitches. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this makes 6 and 7, and then we make our picot. 1, 2, 3, 4, slip stitch in that first chain, and then we're going to work another 7 stitches and continue. I'm going to go ahead and finish these off camera. So after having worked the other 7 stitches, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches, and then in the next stitch we're going to work our single crochet, chain 4, work the picot in that first chain, and then another single crochet, and that should put us back on track. So now we're going to skip 1, 2, 3 stitches, and then in between, and let's double check. I always do flip it to the back side to make sure that it's in between where those stitches cross. And we go back to working our 8 treble crochet shells with the picot in the center. So that's what we're doing. So go ahead and complete this all the way around. Again, just being careful to adjust. I'm going to go ahead and show you the front side. You just may have to adjust it slightly when you do the small picot in between the shells for the corners. Okay? All right, so go ahead and finish the perimeter round. After working this all the way around, and after having worked the picot and the 2 single crochets, go ahead and join with a slip stitch. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch, but go ahead and join with a slip stitch to the first stitch of the round, just like this. Go ahead and give it a chain, and I'm going to cut a generous strand here. I like to have at least between 4 to 6 inches of yarn, and let me go ahead and do a very quick tutorial on how to hide these loose ends. And I know you have many to hide from this project with all the color changes and all the different balls of yarn that were added in. Okay, and I like to do this on the back side, and I'm simply going to go down into these stitches. There are plenty of places to hide this. Let me come down there. And what's nice about hiding it on the back side is you're not going to see it on the front side. Okay, so I'm going to come on down here, and I'm going to try to, I see a nice row of single crochets. I can run it under these stitches right here. Whoops. It would be helpful if I was wearing my glasses right now. Let me go ahead and try running it under these stitches because I can see these a lot better. And so you can run this under as many stitches as you like. I think that's going to be fine for now. I'm going to go ahead and cut close, but don't cut your stitches. You don't want to do that. Pull it back a little bit. I believe that's hidden for quite a while. All right, let's just take another look at the corner and some of these stitches. Now there is one other step after you have hidden all of the strands. I highly recommend that you wet block your throw. What that will do is it will help these points to stand out a little bit better, and it would also help to give this a better shape. You're going to want to probably shape the inner sections just a little bit more. Okay, and by wet blocking and letting it sit to dry completely, that will help give it that shape. I have almost completed blocking this throw, and I wanted to give you an idea of what is involved with this. Okay, I have these really nice foam mats. I do have links in the video description of where I purchased mine from Amazon, but honestly, you can use any foam rubber type of mats. Make sure that you get some that do not absorb water so that your project can dry effectively. I also use these knit blocking combs. I'm going to go ahead and show you right here. Knit blocking combs. And they come in different sizes. They have the large in these kits, and I have a little box that they come in for storage, which is very helpful. And we also have the smaller versions of these that come in the kit, as well as many of these. I'll take one of these out. These these pins, these T-pins, which are rather large. You do need to be careful with these, but this is so much safer, I believe, for my entire family than let's say using small sewing pins, because those are very easy to get lost. So what I have done is I have stretched this out and put it on the mats in the shape and size that I want, and then I simply sprayed them with regular old tap water. I happen to have well water at my house, but it doesn't really matter. Just something wet, lightly spray it, get it nice and damp, and then just let it dry for a day or two, or however long it takes, depending on the climate you're in. The time to dry will vary. And then when you take these clips up and lift them up, you can see right away, I'm going to put them over here, right away just how much better these picots will stand out. Now, if you're going to use, this is with acrylic, just regular old acrylic responds pretty well to this method. It's called wet blocking. If you have a wool material, it responds even better than acrylic. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a view of what this would involve for blocking, and I hope that serves you well.
Well, I hope you enjoyed video number 3 of the Throw of Grace. I hope you enjoyed crocheting this as much as I did. I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to post comments below. God bless. Bye-bye.